Torrey Smith, a trade economist at the Heritage Foundation, also Fred Kemp, president and CEO of the Atlantic Council. He is also, of course, a CNBC contributor. Thank you both for being here with us. Let's start first, Fred, with you, if you don't mind. You heard Eunice's characterization of these talks. We hear reports that they're stalled out. Can there even be trade negotiations between the U.S. and China at this point? President Trump himself said it's very different now than it was 8 months ago.
Yes, Dom. I think the situation is the following. You have Larry Kudlow coming out yesterday talking about progress toward the phase one deal. And that progress was an increase of soybean sales in June and July, but still far below what was sought in the deal. I call when you call that progress, that's like saying that the paint is peeling more slowly on the front door of a collapsing house, and so that's progress. But we have problems in the technology field. You had more than a dozen CEOs coming in to see President Trump this week, really worried about how that could hurt their business in China. You have problems in the security field. You've had China ramping up their activities around Taiwan after the visit of the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Alex Azar, to Taiwan this week. The most important visit of a U.S. official since 1979 to Taiwan. And you've had new sanctions on 11 Americans. You've had the arrest in Hong Kong of a leading media tycoon, Jimmy Lai. So these trade talks, phase one deal, is really the front door of a collapsing house. And so one really has to take on the whole of the relationship. And I think as Trump said himself, the phase one trade deal, which he once said was going to be one of the greatest deals ever, is now not so important.
Torrey, it doesn't sound very promising, I got to say. I mean, between the news reports, between what Fred just said, it doesn't seem like we're going to make any kind of headway really on this. I remember a time pre-COVID when we talked about the economic impact and how important it was for both sides to come to terms. Where is this deal now, and will it have a real big economic impact, not just on us, but on China as well, if a trade deal cannot be moved on?
Well, I think the first thing to point out here is that these talks this weekend were supposed to be a sort of routine act of the phase one deal. It requires a meeting of the trade sort of group every 6 months. So that in terms is kind of more routine. But what worries me the most, I think, in this situation is what are these favorable conditions that China is talking about? Obviously, both sides have an interest in having this deal be successful. We don't want to see more tariffs, which are just taxes on Americans, taxes on the Chinese people, and that's not good for anyone during COVID. But if China's idea of favorable conditions is reducing some of the U.S. pressure on China as a result of China's actions regarding Hong Kong, their actions in Xinjiang, that is absolutely a non-starter for the U.S. government. And the Trump administration should remain strong on those pressures in issues that are not directly related to the trade deal.